That might be weird. Having that in the background. Oh, I might want to plug the... How's it going, boys? How's your dad? What do we got? We don't really have the kind of audience where we can... It's not completely gone. Yeah, this is the KLF thing. It barely fits. It's like way too small. It's not kiddie size, but what the fuck? Who cares? It's funny. Muzzy! Well, you knew I was going to wear it eventually, right? Yeah, fuck it. What do we got? We got like almost, what do we got? 10? Come on. Bring it in. Bring it in. I'm not going to fucking, okay. Yeah, so, you know, let's do it. I guess I should start talking because eventually people are, you'll end up, a bunch of you are going to watch this later, so it'd be stupid to have dead air. So yeah, this fucking book. You know, look, there's not a person or a group of people who are like the right person or group of people to tell you about New York at any time. It's all bullshit. All the stories are told after the fact. It's just a question of what was the person who's telling you this story doing at that time? And I can tell you that, like, of the people that you want to listen to, the people that could potentially tell you a kind of accurate story about what this whole New York scene, beginning in the late 90s and going really into like, say 2007, it was completely fucking washed. It's not Gideon Yago, Fisher Spooner, Moby, Lizzie Goodman, or Ultra Girl. None of these people are the people you want to fucking hear about this shit from. Because, I mean, most of them weren't fucking there. They were scenesters. This book is like fucking painful to read. I mean, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs chapter is good and important, and what they did was fucking awesome. And I think that's handled well because it has less input from the sort of people I was just talking about. And the stories, the bit about Regina Spektor is fucking awesome too. It's great. I love, you know, how Julian and the Strokes sort of, you know, talk about that so fondly. It was a really fucking cool flex on their part to do that. Yeah. So first of all, right on the cover, it says, you know, because I mean, they're trying to market it. I understand that 2001 to 2011 is what the fuck? That means nothing. I mean, and again, everybody's going to tell us a different way. As I experienced it, so a lot of the people I went to college with moved to Ken Ave in 97, right after we graduated. By that time, Union Pool was already like a thing. But like indie rock shit was still like ruling the day for sure, even in 97. Like, and then you get like, so like one of the big sites, I found this when I was looking, used to be Brainwashed. I still have my Brainwashed fucking patch that you put in your fucking army jacket. Yeah, like North 6 and you know, all these fucking streets everyone talks about. North 3rd was fucking sketchy as fuck. And really, like when I think back on it, it's sort of like, it's when this generation, you know, my age, which is like 5 years too old for, you know, someone like this, it's when they first start doing coke. That's what fucking starts these stories. It's when kids in their 20s first start actually getting access to coke, who, you know, have romanticized it or whatever. I mean, I'm kind of joking, but not really, because cokies was a huge fucking part of this. It was still like indie rock bands at North Six, and you know, being old enough, being out of school for long enough, and like this thing happens to everyone that moves to New York City. After you've lived there for like a year and you have some sort of fucking clue about how to get around and shit, you think you're a New Yorker. You're the most like fucking over the top New Yorker ever. And like, you're still some fucking college kid 10 minutes out of fucking school. And your parents are, at this point, your parents are definitely paying your rent. Back then, there were still places you could live that were completely fucked and trashed, and you could build your own beds. And that's what my friends did. Not to suggest my friends, there were plenty of them who were fucking loaded and didn't need to do this. But that whole phony fucking starving artist bullshit, everyone goes through that. I mean, all entertainment, media, music, all these scenes, and I've said this before, it's 90% rich kids and 10% super fucking poor kids with no other options. No one else can afford to spend all their time dicking around except them. And that's what the majority of the people in this book were doing. Fucking dicking around, doing shitty stepped on fucking coke, and just talking shit. And I mean, these people literally almost every night went home and watched Almost Famous. Like, I can't even fucking tell you how totally unself-conscious, unself-aware, just like childish. They were acting like fucking 13-year-olds. And I'm not that much older than them. But yeah, the story that's told in this book is not the fucking story of what was going on in music or culture at that time. What was going on and where this all came from, the whole vibe that the Strokes were picking up on. I mean, of course, in the musical terms and in the image terms, it's just, why did the Strokes blow up? Because they're fucking familiar, because they feel like 70s New York, and everyone wanted to pretend and reify, you know, that period, which is fine. And they did it in a fucking incredibly detailed, inscrutable way. I mean, their first album is fucking perfect. It's as perfect as Elvis Costello's debut, as fucking Television's debut. There's no disputing any of that. I have nothing bad to say about the Strokes. I don't fucking indict them because they're all rich kids. Who gives a shit? But it's about the impulse that made people feel like there's low life again. Because low life is like it's like a fake pose, right? Actual pre-Disneyfication New York was fucking terrifying. You didn't even want to be there. Like, it's super hard to explain how that bottomed out. And I didn't live there at that time. I was a fucking teenager, but I was visiting friends who were going to like Sarah Lawrence and NYU and shit. And it was literally like Kids, the movie Kids at that time. And it didn't have none of the vibe of, you know, what you see in that movie Kids, and the whole like club kid period before that, and sort of during it when it flames out. The whole thing, there was this really bum, like kind of bad valley from, I mean, again, everyone's going to have a different vibe about when things happen and when they shifted. But like, if you look at like 94 to 97, or, yeah, about that, it's just like this huge void where like nobody was sure the way things were going to move. There were a lot of second cities doing well during that time, where I was, Boston, Chicago. You know, you had bands in indie rock kind of, you know, spheres kind of blowing the fuck up. Braid was like really fucking big at that. I mean, I remember when when their first records came out, people were like, fuck, you got to hear Braid. They're so fucking good. And they just sounded, you know, like a poppier version of Fugazi or whatever, like, you know, what the fuck, the one with Facet Squared on it, that In on the Kill Taker, right? I don't fucking remember. Anyway. Yeah, In on the Kill Taker, not the good one, Steady Diet, fucking hardcore Fugazi album. But anyway, so 97, there's still this like kind of national indie rock scene, and the email thing. Kids who have gone to college in the very mid 90s all have email, and they're accustomed to email. And so email lists, show lists, the whole process of interconnecting people. I mentioned before in another one of these streams about how South by was this collision of graphic designers, you know, musicians, people who hadn't really connected before, and it opened up this totally different thing. But what formed the Strokes and what the vibe was like, once it was like the romance of how shitty things had been. They were still shitty, but they weren't dangerous. They were just kind of, you know, sort of bombed, and Manhattan was just getting bought the fuck up, and commercial real estate was crazy. And that's a huge underpinning of this, is that there was just massive, like shockingly rapid gentrification across all of New York, predominantly Manhattan. The boroughs sort of came a little bit later, which is what brought all these fucking kids in. But just, you know, huge, crazy shit. And the funniest story in that book is the fact that James Murphy made, you know, more money out of fucking flipping you know, basically a full, I think it was a 3-story, than he did, you know, probably out of anything else until the point where he does the Madison Square Garden shows. But anyway, my point was, I was trying to say, the place that what the Strokes were keying on came from did not come from music. The whole vibe that they were, and everyone was sort of feeling like wanting to participate in low life and trash chic and, you know, get away from like indie rock and Nirvana. And like, there was just this, there was nothing new. Everyone fucking got their whole shit from Vice. It's a fucking fact. This fucking Canadian magazine, I remember like 97 or whatever, 8, going down to visit them and reading the issue where they reviewed Types of Crack. And it was just like, fuck, what? And that whole thing of like, the whole beginning of the internet too, you had like Celebrity, that kid, he died. I think he OD'd in Canada. A bunch of people, like the whole mockery of the attention getting aspect of self-promotion, pre-blogging and stuff. There were people already mocking that. There's always people mocking everything, even while it's happening, you know, mocking the Strokes or whatever. But you had this kind of vibe didn't exist in fucking music. It doesn't come from music. It comes from fashion, art, and usually outsized fucking wealth. Because most of the people who can afford to take this shit to the fucking media level are fucking loaded. And that's where you had guys like Dash Snow and Dan Cole and this whole fucking clique of new, you know, boho. This is like the, you know, oh my God, it's like Basquiat again. It's like Julian Schnabel's back. Like everyone was living this new art fantasy. I don't want to put anything totally fucking revolting up here, but everyone was living this new, like, there you go. This is a perfect example. Look at this fucking picture. Like everyone was just trying to be as fucking washed and fucking blown out, doing the craziest, grossest shit, you know, just being complete fucking wastoids. And this fascination with lowlife completely fucking photocopies into Salem. It's such a common thread, but in the art world in New York and with Vice coming through and being adopted, and like, yeah, they had fucking Malcolm McLaren in the Do's and Don'ts. And, you know, I think that's Meg White. Like I opened to a pretty good page, but like Gavin, before they fell out, was just became the fucking king because people were dying to figure out a new way to be fucking cool. Like all the kids that come to New York play dress up and try and fucking make themselves, you know, the it thing, you know, whatever. There's always someone trying to start some fucking scene. And, you know, for me, but 2001, it was all fucking MTV, totally ingested. Like that, nothing started in 2001. I mean, it certainly wasn't lame. It was still like pretty fucking cool and crazy. Like that big shit was happening. Cause I mean, at that time, I moved down, I was there like 02 to 07, let's say. And I was playing in like 4 different bands that went nowhere. One of them had to deal with Rough Trade. They were like 3 really rich English kids, and then some jackass fucking idiot bassist guy. And they were basically trapped in 97 in like 97 England. Like the singer was wearing fucking trim traps. Like he might have been wearing Munchins, but he was wearing like, you know, Hooli Terrace Adidas shoes, and had like fucking super pale blonde hair and like a top fluff. And they were playing basically like, you know, fucking Song 2, Beetlebum. Like, you know, it was fucking hilarious. But they had to deal with Rough Trade somewhere in the mix, and their strategy was to come over here, which everyone knows is ass fucking backwards. You don't break New York, you break England because it's small and has a hyperactive media, and then you come back. And so, you know, anyway, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. But then there was this other band that was like a weird, like a Sun Kill Moon kind of thing. That was on Network. And this was the demo CD that we were like working on. And then I was in like, because I basically hated both these bands, but I wanted to be playing out and just, you know, staying sharp and playing. I was writing obviously for Pitchfork, which some of these bands were like, you can't be in our band if you write for a music magazine. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, it's just the best when people are so full of shit, especially if they're on like super bad stepped on fucking coke. But yeah, so then I got so sick of that shit that I got together with a buddy of mine that went to college together. He was working on Broadway at that point, doing like costumes for huge shows and shit. He's fucking amazing. But anyway, we started a band. We were going to be a Minutemen cover band. We both had, that's how we met, was in college, was that we were both super fucking huge into the Minutemen. So we were like learning, you know, all of our favorite Tension games, like all that shit. We were practicing down in the Lower East Side on, I think it was on Second, I can't remember. It was on, no, it was off one of the fucking side streets. The network band was in that complex that's right there that opens up by Rivington. That was, and everyone was going to 151 Rivington too. That was like, no one ever talks about that fucking bar. They're always like, oh yeah, I was DJing it lit, and we went to fucking Motherfucker and party. I mean, it's just a normal bar. Great. I don't need scenester fucking bullshit. Every time you go to Union Pool, it's like this fucking, it's all happening. Shut the fuck up. Like, it's this need to constantly reify that what you're doing is a version of a fantasy that you've had that's been fucking sold to you that you bought. I mean, like, it's literally lifestyle consumerism. It's so fucking depressing. But anyway, so I was loving that. And that's where we're running into a lot of fucking, you know, like that crowd, that art crowd, not the fucking music crowd. And those people were all fucking massive Class A drug users. Like, it was fucking scary as shit. I can't fucking live in that zone. I've never been able to. And I was absolutely fucking terrified of those people, man. I don't know how they fucking woke up in the morning. Like, every night it was just like, you know, oh, someone, you know, puked in my bed and I'll clean it tomorrow. I'm going to go pass out. Like, just fucking gross. Like, just gross. Who needs to take it to that level? These kids did. Cause, you know, I grew up rich and, you know, mom and dad don't get me and I don't feel loved. I mean, I don't know what the fuck happens that you, I don't know. Dash No Store is just really, but anyway. Yeah. So, I mean, I'd stress that this has nothing to fucking do with the Strokes or music. It comes out of that. It comes out of everybody wanting to bring back kind of credible, rough New York art con shit. Like, you know, like the Disney painting Collin of the, you know, the candle. It's so fucking beautiful. It just is. It really was as like impactful. A lot of these shows and a lot of these galleries had shit going on that easily stands up to anything fucking going on in downtown 81. Like, it was a really fucking insanely significant time. I mean, don't forget, you also have like, what's his fucking name? Matthew Barney, the filmmaker, doing the Cremaster cycle or whatever. Like, you had some crazy fucking big ultra art shit going on with massive money behind it. That fucking shit is over. Like, I don't think anything's fucking come close to, like, they really nailed it. They had the whole fucking thing completely like working again. And I mean, like I said, it's not, I couldn't live that life. And I'd be a tourist, you know? But there were people really doing it. And then, yeah, on the other side of it is like, you know, the fucking dudes up in the balcony on Sesame Street, which is Gavin McInnes with do's and don'ts. And you need that. You need the commentator who's, you know, pushing and prodding and laughing. And, you know, it just makes the whole thing have its own sort of flow. But anyway, yeah, I mean, by the time I moved down there, all this shit was blown up so huge. I was like, well, I missed it. You know, Interpol was already essentially going to be over. The Strokes were, you know, completely on their fucking head trip. I think the fucking one of the guy that dated Drew Barrymore, I think they were already dating. I don't remember, but it when I got down there, like in 2002, the blog thing was starting to make noise, and Pitchfork was getting really fucking big. So there was a lot of tension about that because everybody at Pitchfork is in a second city. They're in Chicago. I was in Boston. There was only a few people in New York City that were writing for the site. And there was a lot of like, you know, there was always a lot of tension and dismissiveness around it. But yeah, I mean, when you read that fucking Meet Me in the Bathroom book, it is so fucking embarrassing. These are all the fucking losers we blew the fuck out. These are all the fucking washed nobodies sitting at fucking Spin, like Mark Spitz, that had no fucking clue what was going on. They were writing about fucking the Vines. The Vines. Really? Wow, how'd you hear about them? Just fucking so embarrassing. And they're so pathetic and jealous of Pitchfork. You can fucking feel it just coming off the page. And everybody was. And I love that. And I was like, fuck yeah, fuck all of you. You guys are fucking total jokes. You don't know dick about music. I remember going to fucking Sarah Lewitton's fucking birthday party. And she didn't know, she was like in her 20s. She didn't know that New Order and Joy Division were in any way related, that one came from the other. And she was like playing Joy Division at DJing it. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? But yeah, you know, I checked it all out, right? I could go anywhere I wanted. I'm a fucking Pitchfork. I can walk in anywhere, talk to anybody. And most of these people I just thought were fucking boring and fucking flimsy as shit. They didn't have anything on the ball. It was super rare. I mean, all you had to be was as smart as James Murphy to take over the whole fucking thing. Like, that's all you, like, the fact that the guy had, you know, knew a little bit about Can's history or whatever, or, you know, could talk to you about fucking Yellow Magic Orchestra or whatever. Like, these kids were just MTV babies. They didn't fucking learn about music. They didn't pursue music. They just wanted to fucking go out and party. You know, like, what the fuck? It's just one's got nothing to do with the other. There were people who were serious about music, and then there were flakes, you know, and the flakes weren't even good at being flakes. The good flakes was Layla Zark and Jordan, who formed Misshapes. They fucking took that shit and blew it right the fuck up. They had fucking Jarvis Cocker come in. Everybody in New York was like, what the fuck? Jarvis Cocker is DJing Misshapes? What? Like, that happened crazy fucking fast. The tempo with which the whole explosion of these scenesters and Misshapes happened was indescribable. It was like weeks of that starting. Huge fucking names were in there. Fucking Madonna. When Madonna came, it was like, this is over. But like for a good while, that shit was attracting top line fucking celebrities. Everyone wanted to be as cool as that fucking place and Layla Zark. I mean, Layla Zark is just born famous. I mean, you walk in the room with her. I remember standing next to her and I was just like, that's way the fuck out of my league. And I don't mean romantically or sexually. I just mean like socially. This person is not like other people. This person is like literally physically perfect. And even though she was probably insecure, it came over like icy poise and fearlessness because everyone else in the room is like 12 rungs down from that. Men and women. And so, you know, I got a lot of respect for a lot of the people that are ancillary participants in this story. But, you know, the fucking James Murphy going, you know, at pains to tell everybody that he did Quaaludes in 2008 or whatever, like, get the fuck out of here. That guy just gets up my fucking ass. I mean, I like a couple of their songs. I fucking love that Nike experiment he did. Daft Punk Plays My House. I've written it up a million times. Fucking, it's just killer. The guy's incredibly talented. I'm not knocking that. But his whole like bullshit boffin crap that he had going on, oh man, it just did not land for me at fucking all. Unlike everyone back in Chicago, and you know, the guy Ryan who ran Pitchfork was fucking in love with this guy and wanted to fucking move in with him. I just, you know, I mean, again, I've always been somebody who stands back, right? And like, yeah, sure, he is a great New Yorker. No fucking question. Like, I'm not, dude, who the fuck am I? Like, seriously, I'm gonna knock James Murphy. Like, what the fuck? The guy's, he'll be remembered forever. But my point is, all the people who are in this book and giving quotes in this book, no one knows who the fuck they are and they'll never remember them. Today, 20 years later, people are still talking about individual Pitchfork reviews every fucking day. The shit we did mattered, changed shit, and affected way more fucking people than any of these fucking people did. Nothing they wrote did. Like, she put out this fucking band Louis the 14th, and, you know, like, it was just so fake. It was such fucking going through the motions bullshit. Remember fucking She Wants Revenge? I still haven't opened this. Sister. This was rad, though, because it was so full on goth. You know, I was like, fuck it. You know, like, this is where you should just go with it. You know, just go shoot a video in a graveyard. Like, fuck it. Let's stop with the, like, carefully pruned imagery. You know, and I just, to me, the story that's trying to get told doesn't get told in this book, because what happens is this book gets taken over by the big gets, which is what? David Cross and Moby. So, you know, like, half the book is stories about Moby and David Cross doing fucking wheat coke with Paul Banks. Like, what the fuck? Who gives a shit? Like, I want to go to fucking Moby's again and deal with his hot tub bullshit. Dude is so fucking skeevy. He had ragers up at his fucking place every weekend. And my intersect with that, I've said this in the other ones, is I worked at Teen People. And the editor was, like, tight with him. And, you know, this is, like, the guy who founded Maxim was around. Like, there was so much fucking shit going on because the internet was truly observably fucking with the circulation rate of all printed media in New York. It was already starting to crack badly about 2005. And then, like, you know, 2003, 4, 5, that whole period, it's fucking blog wash bullshit. That's all fucking, at that time, you know, it really, like, everything pivoted to a couple of other places, you know, like pianos and it just, the whole fucking thing totally changed. Like, everything fell away that had been part of that late 90s, you know, to 9/11 kind of vibe. I mean, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs took a long time to get it going from when they first were, you know, getting talked about. And they wanted to do it right. And I applaud them for that. And it didn't matter how much later they happened, because what they were doing worked regardless of the time. The Strokes wouldn't work just any time, in my view. Not the way that they did. But yeah, it was just, it's when you decide who gets to tell the story of a time and a place, it's inevitably going to be incomplete, and it's inevitably going to be that click-sided. These are people I wouldn't fucking piss on if they were on fire. And I've been in the same room as most of them. Because I was checking it out. Because it was easy to check it out. But most of it just didn't measure up to me. How does this transition to later thousands? Vivian Girls Woods, blah, blah. The Teen People Turn on the Bright Lights review. Oh, fuck, yeah. I don't know where I kept that. It's one of the last issues they ever published, too. That's why they didn't give a shit about giving me a fake byline with the late, great Ray Suzuki. But, I mean, look at this. Does anything say, like, what year was this? Yes, thank you very much. With compliments to the author. What year was this? I mean, I think this was pretty much the last thing David did before they were getting ready to sell the Bloomsbury. I don't know, when the fuck did this even come out? I mean, they have to print that somewhere here. Jesus Christ. 2004. No, 2006. Yeah, I mean, does anything look more like the mid-2000s than this? Pink and black, you know, tank top, hips long, all this shit. Like, everything looked like this. This is when all the crest core bands came out, where everyone had crests on their fucking albums, and, you know. And at the same time, oh yeah, fuck. I found my original contract. Can I? Oh yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, this is right before moved down. This is the original contract for the Joy Division book. Blood Brothers, yeah. I was having this sent to my fucking work because we were about to move down. So, yeah, it's very important that everyone keeps to schedule. We are going to launch the series in October 2003. So, like, I think they had 9 books on the roll for the original run of 33 1/3. And I was done first. And there were a bunch of them that were like down to the fucking wire. So yeah, I mean, this is like what is this? It's fucking ridiculous. This is a 5-page contract, and it's totally been voided like 6 times over because the company's been sold. And I told them, you can never fucking reprint or touch a fucking word I gave you ever again. And if you put a podcast of my fucking book on Spotify, I will fucking sue you. Haven't heard from him since. It's been almost a year since they announced their little deal with Spotify for 33 1/3. I'm guessing I'm not the only one who reacted with trepidation to that, and that's why it hasn't come off. But yeah, I was not fucking having that shit. But you know, one of the other things that was happening at that time was Da Capo did the Best Music Writing series. So this is like 2004 and 2005. And, you know, I'm in these, whatever. Wow, William Bowers, what's up? Puritan Blister, my dude. I forgot he was in this. Matos, everybody's in these. But this was like, you know, this was my generation of wannabe young music writers trying to make their bones. Dave Eggers, Chris Gow was in this one. JT Leroy edited it. Where's mine? Yeah, there it is. Oh yeah, Greil Marcus was in this too. And it, you know, everybody was trying to get, I don't know. Everybody was just trying to get shit going. But the thing is all these people that were trying to get all this shit going, they couldn't compete with Pitchfork. Like, we ran the entire fucking thing. There's just, it was so silly at the time that people were like trying to like gaslight everybody that they were cooler than Pitchfork or that they didn't read it. It was such a funny fucking tension. Everyone had it. Every city you'd go to, they'd be like, but it just, it didn't, 2003 is when it really, really fucking took off big time. And by 2005, like I said, it was on everybody's radar. It was getting, you know, like all the managers and fucking WME and all that shit was coming in. So that was when I quit. But I mean, you know, I'm not trying to suggest that I was in New York when I was in New York, and it was a really, personally for me, the time I was in New York was not significant. Like 2003, 2002 fall to 2007, I don't think anything that exciting really happened that I can recall. It was just like people who heard it was cool again were coming down to party. And nothing, it just turned into celebrity horse shit. And like, you know, basically Madonna being like, oh, I remember Downtown 81. Let's do that again. You know, it was cute. It was a lot of co-signing. It was a lot of blessing what these kids were doing, and they deserve to be blessed. You know, fashion was blown up fucking huge. The Rapture, that was going to be the one. Still great fucking, Echo's such a good fucking record. The Rapture were fucking fantastic. They were great. They were probably, I mean, I think they were a better band than the Strokes. Obviously way more sophisticated musically. But yeah, they were good stuff. That was one where like you wanted, or someone like me was like, hold on a second, you know, looking at that sideways, because it was so obvious that it was like really fucking big. Fashion was huge, but it was ugly as fuck. I mean, matter of taste. I'm not exactly the most fashionable person, I think we know. But you know, yeah, they were massive. iPod commercial chic, exactly. That's exactly everything after they launched that ad campaign. And the iPod is a huge part of this too. This whole period was so fucking transformative. Like, so many new fucking things technologically were happening. But there just weren't a lot of interesting bands. There was a lot of, it's like the framework was built and there wasn't much to hang on it. And I still feel that way. I still feel that the rails were greased so fast for the likes of Stella Star and the Caesars. Yeah, they got in the iPod commercial. That was, they were like Jet of the time. The structure and the attention, you know, economy was building itself faster than shit that was worth attention could happen, is how I'd put it. And it's sort of a you know, a variant of what I had said about how there aren't, 4 interesting records released every day. Well, now if you're talking about the Libertines and in trash and all that, that's a whole other fucking world. And that, I mean, I have told this story, not here, but I was talking to Entertainment Weekly about writing for them. And they were like, well, what are you thinking about music right now? What do you think is the most important thing? And I said, I think the most important thing you need to do is establish a relationship with Amy Winehouse, because she's going to be the biggest celebrity in the world in about 6 months when this album comes out. And they had no idea who she was, obviously. And, a lot of American media had no fucking clue, because she was like a Jonathan Ross child prodigy jazz vocalist. Like, her marketing was completely fucking just inane, like tube dresses, we like fucking in pastel colors, like, until she was like, fuck this, I gotta go for mine. It's just unbelievable to me how quickly she was able to do that. And it does suck that taking fucking drugs will make you seem like a fabulous disaster. But the fucking talent that she had was so outsized. It's incomparable, totally fucking incomparable. Just like an icon of, the highest caliber, Elvis, you name it. And it's not just because she died. I mean, that creates the death cult like Ian Curtis, but her body of work is as mature and confident and resonant as the greatest singers in the history of the blues or whatever. Joplin, fucking hell yeah, she's up there with Janis to me. Have hair babies with me. That's fucking gross. She ruined Kimbra's chances. Did she really have chances? I don't know about that. Frank is good. Yeah, sure. White studded belt. Not that many people wore white studded belts. I don't get that. That's kind of yeah, people did, but man, fuck, I have not had chartreuse in a long time. This shit hits you. She was a total prodigy. Yeah, no, obviously, of course she was. But anyway, yeah, they looked at me like I had 3 heads, and then I've told the other story too, that the salary they offered me was 1/3 of what I was already making working in IT for this same company, and that was when I was like, okay. And that's when I started applying pressure too on Ryan about the whole financial situation, because it was clear Pitchfork was going to get taken out and become this massive thing. And there was a lot of money coming in. There continued to be shitloads of money coming in long, up for the 10 years after I left until it got actually sold. And that money led to like what's in Meet Me in the Bathroom that those people want to celebrate. The shit that went on at Pitchfork's offices and backstage at their festivals and at like Primavera and shit is a lot closer to the fantasies that those people were trying to recreate than people are ever going to know. They'll never write the real story. Never write it. But it's pretty fucking crazy. Unfortunately, to be honest, a lot of it's firsthand, but not in the sense that I was there. It's that I know the people like well that were there. So, but I've never repeated it. I don't do that shit. There's a line, like, I can have issues with people's integrity. I can have issues with things people have said or done, the way they've misrepresented themselves. Fine. I'm not going to go out and throw fucking dirty laundry at people that haven't done it themselves. That's bullshit. That's just gossip and trash. I don't know. There's no fucking way I would ever talk about that shit because I wasn't there. I've had nothing to do with it since 2006. Are you kidding me? It wasn't even blown up yet. It didn't blow the fuck up until 2007 and 8. That's when it was like nuts, and they couldn't stop it. But you know what, man? Honestly, the success they had, the fact that they were able to stay, even with silent partners like Geiger and stuff, like they had every week the guy was getting calls from people to invest in Pitchfork. And I mean, like in 2004, he was getting calls from people that either wanted to take him out, invest, anything. Everyone wanted a piece of this fucking thing. And he turned them all down. He went a different way, tried to keep control of it, got guidance, advice from people in the real establishment media, realized he had to. And it's just fucking crazy that they were able to keep it, essentially for the most part, at least in terms of the voice of the site and stuff, independent right up until the point when it got sold. You can only applaud that, and like I said, I wasn't involved for a long time. But anyway, yeah, I literally was a history major who went into IT. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. My story about Kanye with the Connect 4. I guess I've never told that on video. I've only written it. But yeah, I mean, other people know this. But yeah, that was the coolest thing I've ever fucking seen. It was mind-bending. I was like, this guy's a fucking savant. Like, so when I worked at Teen People, this is before Kanye was like Pitchfork had written up whatever college dropout, like, because they're in Chicago too, so that helps. But like mainstream media attention on rap artists was still super brokered and more celebrity maintenance than music. And he was legging it himself, and he came in. I'll never forget, because I heard that they were like, "Oh, Kanye's coming in." And I was like, "What the no shit?" Because I mean, the guy was in our world, in the web, pitchforky world or whatever. The guy was, everybody knew this guy was like a fucking massive commodity and was gonna blow the fuck up. But like Ivory Tower, New York media people, like, it's just the new kid on the block, whatever. So he comes in and he's carrying a Connect 4 set, like the old 70s box, like all flattened and shit under his arm. And he's like saying hi to everybody, whatever. And he walks into the music editor's office and sits down. He takes out Connect 4 and sets it up. And she's like giggling and it's funny or whatever. And then what happens when you play Connect 4? You literally stare at the other person for like however long it takes to play. There's no skill. You can't embarrass the other person. It's tic-tac-toe. It's not like you can outsmart someone or put them on their heels. So what it means is you create a closeness, a social closeness. You break down and personalize the person in a way that you're remembered, and the other person feels a personal sense of you in a way that you don't get in an interview, which is transactional. You're playing a children's game. It couldn't be less. The stakes couldn't be lower, so your guard comes down too. Every dimension of the fucking 3D chess of celebrity and social engineering that I saw in him doing that. And it's not, he did it all the fucking time, but I saw it in person. Like, I was in the fucking room and I was just like, this guy is going to be the biggest fucking celebrity in this country. Like, he will take out Jay-Z. If he's this fucking smart, and he's not offensive, and he's not walking around thinking everyone owes him everything. He knows he has to earn it. He knows he has to convince people that he's, going to be a big thing. And it was just an absolute fucking dominant social engineering move that I had so much respect and admiration for. What's the book I said he read while he was during Yeezus? History of the World in 100 Objects, I think it's called. It's like a periwinkle, fine art book. There's a book called History of the World in 100 Objects that I am very certain that Kanye was given by someone while he was working on Yeezus, because all of his interviews and shit about architecture and this lamp and all that shit, it's right out of that fucking book, which you should read anyway. It's a phenomenal work of social history and object art history. There's a bunch of other books too from that same sort of thing. The one about city planning, what the fuck is it called? Not A Walled Garden. What the hell is it called? I'd have to go. I didn't pull any of that stuff, and it's upstairs. Downstairs is where all the music shit is. Upstairs is where like the good books are. The new Fleeting Joys album, I haven't opened it. It's over there. Yeah. But yeah, a patterned language. I think that's what it's called. A pattern or a patterned language. And it's about how cities evolve and are laid out. It's an absolute like cornerstone book in social history and evolution of human cohabitation and stuff. Swell maps were great. Let's build a car. Like I loved early swell maps. Shit, just stonking, gross, shambolic. Like the fall without being. It's like less acidic fall, less acerbic fall in some respects. They're great. A pattern language, towns, buildings, construction. Yeah, huge book, huge. And again, these are like good liberal arts, general works that people should read to have kind of a broad-based understanding of multiple, sort of disciplines and how they interconnect. Jane from Occupied Europe is, it's one of the best album titles like ever, and covers. The cover is just fucking iconic. I don't. For me, I like it, but I don't go back to it too much. And then yeah, you had what was Epic Soundtracks had that big solo song "Falling Down" that was so great. That was such a great little piano mid-tempo song. What is the point of me write this song? You'll never hear it now. You have gone. What was yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how many other strains or threads I intended to bring up about that whole New York thing, but to say that this book is totally inconsequential and has absolutely no relevance apart from the Regina Spektor chapter, the stuff about Yeah Yeahs, and you know, if you're an LCD Sound System fan, you know, clearly the background and evolution, it's more about DFA than LCD, that book, and it should be, because a lot of those people, like, you know, I talked about Turing Machine in the Math Rock video and about how that's where DFA really got started. And you know, there were just so many different people. John Fine, you know, the guys in Chavez were around, but then yeah, like one of them went and did Zwan. That was so bad. One of them went and did Zwan with Billy Corgan. I can't believe she got couch on Seth Meyers. Who did? Who got couch on Seth Meyers? Who the fuck watches Seth Meyers? TV personalities? Love television personalities. Hilarious. Tracy's awesome. Mummy, You're Not Watching Me. Fucking Three Wishes is one of my absolute faves ever. Lizzie Goodman got on the Seth Meyers show. That's a fucking tough get. I got booked on Seth Meyers. Yeah, I got booked in my basement. Who gives a shit? No one watches that guy's fucking show. The delusion New York has and has had for a long time that anyone is paying attention to their media, it's pretty sad. The new Morrissey, I checked out that one song, the Jim Jam, Jimmer Jibba, whatever, that sounds like the fucking Farm or In Spiral Carpets. It's awful. He can't sing anymore. His voice is totally wasted. Is Julian still the hottest frontman to come from that era? Fucking hands down. Are you kidding me? Can you imagine fucking looking like that guy? Holy shit. Whew. Neo Nuggets comp in the 90s. Oh, the Neo Nugget. Yeah. Who knows? Julian Cope, I don't find attractive. I don't think that many people did. He thought he was. I mean, Julian's one of those guys who, again, thought he was like, there are lots of examples of this, you know, fake it to make it types that want to become, like, celebrity will make it so it doesn't matter what they look like. They'll be legends. You know what I mean? There's a long history of that, particularly, you know, over in England. Is Angles the best Strokes album? It's the second best Strokes album. Abso-fucking-lutely. I will ride for Angles till the end. Oh, man. Undercover of Darkness is just one of the best fucking retro guitar, late 70s Cars songs ever. It's so fucking good. Love that shit. Yeah, he's not the son of a supermodel. His dad ran a modeling agency, which, you know, was named after him. Guys, like, I mean, you know, where can I cop that massive meat is murder? You can't. Do I like the new Strokes single? No, it sounds like early Psychedelic Furs or Modern English, like I Will Melt With You. It's completely fucked up. I don't understand what they're pulling from or think that people are going to react to. But yeah, it sounds exactly like Modern English. Which and Modern English is not necessarily a one-hit wonder band. Like that, their first album is actually pretty good. And the first Psychedelic Furs album is fucking awesome. You need to get that shit if you don't have it. A lot of people never hear that first Psychedelic Furs album because they think Psychedelic Furs are, you know, John Hughes, Pretty in Pink kind of fucking shit. And, you know, later super overproduced singles like "Oh My Way." Their fucking early shit was raw as fucking great. Whose mom was a model? Are you talking about Paul Banks? Oh, you're talking. Oh, Julia. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about his dad. Sorry. I don't know those guys at all. I saw them at Union Pool. You know, they went there a lot early on while they were forming. Everyone did. The reason I went to Union Pool so much wasn't because I wanted to hang out with fucking scenesters. It's because the guy I went to Skidmore with was the fucking bartender. And I didn't even live there then. I was visiting friends the times I went because they were living there right out of college. I was fucking terrified to live in New York City in the late 90s. Absolutely fucking terrified. They lived on Manhattan Ave in Greenpoint in a wicked sketchy storefront that was like literally a aluminum folding garage was their front wall. I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? I was scared shitless. I would not deal with it. By the time I went there, it was so fucking basic. It was like, whatever. I mean, there was still a little bit of weird shit going on. But honestly, not much. By 03, 04, certainly, it was all sanitized and everybody was like emailing each other and texting, and it was all like completely planned out. I mean, that's really where the whole notion of New York is destroyed, because the whole point of New York is you were more connected in New York. It was easier to meet other people and talk to other people and stay in touch with other people. Yeah, we always had telephones, but you were physically connected in a way that was immediate. The internet broke that. And when you pile that on top of New York and the fever pitch and fantasies of New York, it made it totally fucking illusory. That's what really was another flavor of when it started to turn in 03, is that everything was fake. It was all just rich kids emailing each other and taking the train to a safe place and going somewhere else in a safe way. There was no happenstance. There were almost no accidents. And just that whole scheduling and everything of it. That's an impulse. It just bothered me. I don't know. All the most important people in New York are 19. I'd say a lot younger than that. Voids are good. No, I'm not into voids. I mean, whatever. He can do whatever he wants. But Billy Idol has a writing credit on what? Billy Idol has a writing credit on... Oh, I don't know what happened. I heard that. I heard that Billy Idol has a song credit on this new Stroke single. I don't know why he would. I honestly only listened to it once. That's a first impression. Does it? I mean, because if it borrowed anything from any Gen X shit, it wouldn't just be Billy Idol. So it's got to be something from like the Rebel Yell period. What does it sound like? White Wedding or something? Can I talk about my car channel? Oh, sure. That'd be a good way to get another like 20 minutes out of this. Yeah, I was I was sincerely mapping out a car YouTube channel at one point. I don't make enough money. I don't come from money, and I don't make enough money to ever realistically pursue this. But I was talking to some people about ways that it might have come off. Anyway, in the simplest terms, right? We were gonna Eyes Without a Face is Billy's best song. Abso-fucking-lutely. I don't know. I mean, whatchamacallit is so good. Dancing with Myself and Eyes Without a Face are like 1-2 for me. Yeah, so I was going to start this YouTube channel. I was talking to a guy. I was talking to a garage. Somebody I know owned a garage. So there's that part of it, right? They own a garage. Okay, that might make things a lot easier. So I was going to do this channel called Shit Boxes. And basically you're going to buy like a completely fucked up piece of shit off Craigslist or something that was totally fucking just crushed, like ready for the yard. Get like a $500 fucking, K car or some shit. And, not just like do Doug DeMuro shit and talk about it. Actually make it sort of like jackass and sketchy. And like, so you'd pick the soundtrack, and then, there's also the comedians and cars getting coffee aspect, which was where the potential media piece of it were in discussions that it could be that kind of a thing too, and touch all these different notes. Because there was a period a couple of years ago where there were a lot of people, like YouTube deals were getting done because YouTube was still making a shitload of money. Once they changed the monetization, YouTube fucking died. No one is building anything there except DIY people who are, comfortable, and just basically that you just got to want to be famous or something to be doing anything on YouTube at this point. It's a fucking waste. But yeah, so yeah, you'd get a car, and then you'd have like a mixtape of, like fucking whatever you listen to, late 80s, and you'd talk about shit. Like try to get the cars you drove in high school, try to get your friends to come out or fly back or whatever, and you drive around and talk about shit in that same fucking car. Like one of my best buddies had a fucking Isuzu Trooper, and then another one of my best buddies who's the singer in the Cure cover band that's on the channel from 91, he had a BMW 2002 that was like the fucking floor was gone and the transmission burned up while we were driving it. Like the car filled with fucking smoke, and it was so bad. Wheeler Dealers, yeah, it's okay. I mean, like VinWiki has got some funny shit. Yeah, I know all the fucking car YouTube people. I mean, whatever. I don't know about James May and this Drive Tribe shit, but whatever. Those guys don't need to stop. They can do whatever the fuck they want for the rest of their lives. 2 new MBV songs played live. I haven't heard them. I don't care. Yeah, Acura Legend. That'd be a fucking killer one. Yeah, like, you know, I mean, you can't really do a Buick Roadmaster because Dax Shepard fucking owns that now. That's like his big flex. Like, he's going to be the Buick Roadmaster guy. I mean, that car is fucking legendary. There was a top line Roadmaster for sale in Providence recently for like $5,500. Like, again, it's just, you need a virtuous cycle. You need to be able to restore the cars, make them funny and remarkable through the YouTube channel, and then try and sell them. I mean, it just is ridiculous. But it was a fun thing for, you know, like 8 months back and forth with a few different people. It was like, could we really do, maybe we could do this? Because there's so, you know, it's just so easy. And plus, you got to remember, like, even if it goes nowhere, you can donate the car, you know, like to 1-800-CARS for Kids, and you're going to get a tax write-off for what it's sold for. And if it's not sold for anything, you still get $500. So if you put $1,500 into a shit box, you're getting $500 back off your taxes anyway. And then at that point, it's like, okay, can we generate a profit stream of $3,000 a month? Because at that point, you could take like a serious fucking piece of shit and create, you know, multiple videos and whatever. So, you know, do my kids like K-pop? Yeah. Baby Grimes loves Blackpink. And a bunch of other shit too. We've always loved Gigi Baby. When they were little, Girls' Generation, Taxi, and Gigi Baby. Those were, because you got to remember, this is when Elite Gymnastics and Opinion and that whole thing was going on. James was totally, I mean, he interviewed them for Pitchfork. He was the one pushing all that on, you know, at least me and most of the board. There were only a couple of the people who knew anything about it. You wish I was still making the Shallow Rewards podcasts. Those are extremely time consuming. Like the XTC one, each part of that took me a full week, and I had to wait like 3 weeks in between them to even approach it again. It's not the editing, because I mean, honestly, yeah, of course it's edited, but you know, laying in the cues is a lot, sure. But mostly it's the prep, because my whole thing is I got to be able to talk off the cuff. That's why on this stuff, I'm just like talking shit about records. This is all stuff I already know. It's already in my head all the time. Like I don't have to prep. But for those where you're trying to be historical and, you know, have some sense of like journalistic accuracy about what happened. Like I had things I totally fucking got wrong in that XTC one. I talked about when Elvis Costello got busted for, you know, using a racial slur with the Stephen Stills band. And I was talking about it like it was his first time in America. And it's because I totally fucking edited out a transition where I talked about the fact that he blew up huge, had this contentious relationship with the American press, because it was getting me way too far off track from XTC. And then I was just fried, and I can't fucking listen to myself like over and over and over again. And I missed that I had cut out this crucial thing. And so it bumps up and it says like, basically it's his first time in America and he's drunk and and it's like, no, it was like his third or fourth tour. I think it was the Armed Forces tour, you know, so that is a complete fuck up. And there's other things too, you know, you get dates wrong, whatever. And somebody's gonna come at you and be like, that's not when that came out. You don't know what you're talking about. You know, what the fuck ever. If you have time for that, fuck off. Is Elvis Costello overrated? Jesus Christ, no. My God. I mean, up until Trust, he's fucking flawless. Almost Blue and Trust is like, it starts, no, Trust is great. Almost Blue is where it tanks out. Trust has Clubland and White Knuckles. And oh my God, Trust is great. What am I talking about? That's not the one. I meant Almost Blue. Hey, I'm stoked if I got you excited about XTC. I mean, you know, whether or not it's the first time you heard about it, like getting people excited contextually about that band. That's exactly why I did it. Because Andy Partridge is canceled. No one's ever going to listen to him again. He did say things that I don't think you can deny are anti-Semitic. Does, you know, do we erase him? Does he become an unperson? You know, this stuff is just really difficult to sort out. It's up to you. I don't think it should be a thing of you're not allowed to interface with an artist or a thinker because they've done or said things in the past that, you know, represented impolitic or even racist things. The potential exists that they would then, you know, learn from that castigation We're not doing that. But anyway, this is a completely fucking boring topic. He self-sabotaged everything he ever did. That's my point in the podcast. Absolutely. So did Bobby Fischer, but I'm Jewish and I still play chess. Yeah, I mean, you can make all kinds of one-liners about these topics, but everyone has to make up their own choice. Spike, I love Spike. Spike was the first Elvis Costello I ever heard. Well, no, that's not true. It's the first that I got. I had heard Get Happy and I think Armed Forces. My sister had those, but I wasn't like going back to them because it was like my sister's music, and he was King of America was like Rolling Stone land. It was the furthest thing from cool. Music critics loved it like they loved, Sun City Girls and fucking, all that shit. But and like all the apartheid period. But yeah, no, Veronica, I love that song, and that's one of those 120-minute songs. That's where I heard it, and I was like, I fucking love this song. I love Blood and Chocolate. I do like that. I just meant that he had that really bad period in the early 80s where he was bottoming out on drugs and alcohol and coke and shit. And it's like Almost Blue, and then the really, really awful one that's like got Hall & Oates on it and is all DX7. Imperial Bedroom is I think it's a little overrated because it's so heavy. But like there's no question Beyond Belief is one of the most important, kind of rock format songs in terms of originality and inventiveness. Beyond Belief is just perfect. It's shocking. That song turns your fucking brain inside out. And then you also have Man Out of Time, which I fucking love. But I think on the whole, that record is really, weird. And if you get the compilation Girls, 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 not a lot of people know this even exists, right? Because it was in my era. In the late 80s, there was a big 2 CD, 2 cassette, I don't know how many LP, Elvis Costello collection called Girls, Girls, Girls. And it's super fucking weird because now you have Spotify and playlists and message boards and everybody tells you the big Elvis Costello songs. Angels Want to Wear My Red Shoes, Lesson Zero, Allison, the hits and the hits. What's so funny about pieces like he's got like a massive greatest hits catalog of like 30 songs. Girls, Girls, Girls starts off with like a bunch of shit nobody ever heard or listened to. There's a fucking drum fill in one of those songs that I still don't know how he did it. That guy is one of the best drummers fucking ever. The guy in the Attractions. I fucking don't remember his name right now. But yeah, I still have the pull-out poster from the original Ryko box set. Elvis Costello, this year's model, made in 1954 for 1984. And I had Don't Join, but I mailed it to David Shapiro along with the Slanted and Enchanted review. I don't think it's Lipstick Vogue. Hold on. It's very hard to Google that if you don't put Costello because obviously Elvis. Which one is it? It's okay, so it was a 2 LP set. That's interesting. Like it's a 2-hand, but there's a kick thing he's doing. It's so fucked. My Aim is True is perfect, but it's just, it's Huey Lewis's band, Clover and shit. It's kind of weird. Do you have any thoughts on Claire Records, Mahogany? Yeah, I loved Mahogany. That was another weird dude. Dream of a Modern Day. Is that the name of the album? It's got like the little kind of design, shaped blue and orange design in the middle. It was something Locomotive. There's 2 songs on that just were absolutely huge to me. I listened to those so fucking much in the very late 90s and early 2000s. I think his name was Andrew something. I think he was out on Harvard Square at that time because they got together in Michigan, and then there was a period where I thought he was living in Boston. Maybe I'm wrong. I know he was in Philly, but yeah, I mean, so it's that whole scene of Love's Lies Crushing and shit and Astro Bright. But Dream of Modern Day, 1998, right? And that's the one because it was on Darla, and that's right when I was on Darla and shit. And it got noticed by everybody. Robin Guthrie ended up working with the guy. I mean, this album did surprisingly really well at that moment. And there was these 2 songs on Dream of a Modern Day, something to do with Locomotive. I'm just gonna Google it because I haven't listened to this shit in a while. It's a great record. It's beautiful on vinyl. Oh my god! But yeah, Mystique of the Locomotive and the other song I think was Chance. those two are just massive standouts, because there's a lot of pretentious bullshit, you know, obviously being like, you know, movement 2, movement 1, synchronomy, you know, like, what the fuck, man? Get your head out of your ass, write a fucking pop song. But anyway, I did, man, a couple of those were so good. Do I remember Sweet Trip? Yeah, they did okay. Got a good little name. Lover's Walk is one of the songs. Yeah, that might be the one. It's either Lover's Walk or the other one I just mentioned. But yeah, it's relatively up tempo, and there's just a crashing, fucked up, crazy drum fill in the middle of it. I can't even figure out how he did it. Flying Nun, I couldn't get into that. That'll take forever. I've only got about another 10 minutes in this. Part 2 of the Rival Dealer piece. You know, honestly, after I wrote that piece, I was so fucking, this is a good way to go out. I was so grossed out by the arrival of Todd Burns' new fucking Substack, Music Journalism Insider, or whatever the fuck it's called. This gatekeeping fucking circle jerk of bullshit with the biggest fucking douchebags in fucking the entire history of music writing, who have all taken over the editing of every fucking publication. They're the most prevaricating, politically correct, boring fucking nobodies you could ever imagine. Fuck them all off a fucking cliff. Like, there is nobody worth reading right now except kids that are so fucking inured to how dumb and bad music writing has become that they would rather write about fucking industry and business, which is like Sherry and Dave Turner, you know, Penny Fraction. Like, they're more psyched about talking about streaming and the economy than they are about fucking music. That's how fucking bad music journalism is now. And what, now you're going to get like the fucking gate-kept Rolodex of who's in and who's out, and oh my God, it's so fucking bad. And you know, what the fuck ever to that whole bullshit. And I just can't, I can't fucking just the idea of writing about music right now just still makes me fucking ill. Like, I'd just rather do this, man. I mean, thank you, honestly. Thank you. I appreciate that you liked something I wrote or other things I've written over the years. Like, it's definitely appreciated. Like, it feels nice when I get emails and stuff about things I've written, but I have no fucking time for that fucking scene at all. It just turned into like, it's the same thing as when I was down in New York, man. You know, you go to these parties, you see these people, it's like a fucking 11th grade dance. Everybody's looking at me like this, like I'm going to fucking beat somebody up or something because I'm this crazy ranting writer from Pitchfork or whatever. Nobody really knows what's his deal. And I'm just like, what the fuck, man? Just like, can we fucking put on a record? Like, everything has to be so, you know, staged and postured and fucking, you know, let me tell you how great the song is and I'll make you a mixtape, and then like, just fucking, like, can you, like, not enough is assumed of people that are fans of music when they're together. It just becomes like so fucking competitive and insecure and embarrassing, or it becomes so fluffy and lightweight and just insubstantial. Like, I don't want to spend my fucking time sitting around, you know, blowing fucking weak coke in a stairwell, you know, talking about how you think your friend's band is going to make it. I've been around those people my whole fucking life as a musician and as a writer. I mean, you know, obviously not the last 10 years or so since I fucking checked out of all this. Well, no, 6, let's say 6, like 37, I think it was when I was like essentially zoned fucking out of all of it. Which isn't 10 years ago. So anyway, but I just want you to be yourself. Isolation. Don't go trusting people too much, man. I mean, you know, nobody on the internet like fucking knows me. I'm just some fucking loudmouth shithead fucking guy. It's like, whatever. I appreciate it though. And I wouldn't do it if I didn't want to represent that, you know, like I wouldn't do this shit if I didn't think there was this, like, there's a bunch of fucking people like this out there that are just so fucking burned out. So sick of the fucking gatekeeping and bullshit, and like some fucking 27-year-old acting like they're fucking 40, like they're an editor and they're going to give you a fucking assignment, and like just the whole fucking structure of writing for a living is so mortifying and beneath me. I mean, I don't know how it's not for anybody because it's never paid anything anyway. Why would you subject yourself to this? What is the fantasy you have the light that you think you see at the end of this tunnel of shit and no redemption. Totally pinched that off Malcolm Tucker. Sorry about that. Soviet Watch Review Channel. This thing's fucking serious. This is Okean. This is not the really good one where the interior of the faceplate is offset in blue. Those are about $1,000. Nobody realizes it's the exact same watch, 3133 movement. Exact same watch, exact same manufacturer. It's an absolutely perfect fucking pole yacht I got with a killer kind of sunflower NATO band from a guy in Turkey. And like I said, the true Navy ones have see those two triangles in the middle? Those are blue in the true Navy Okeans. But this is the exact same watch without that affect and missing the bold Okia brand. And yeah, man, I got this for like, I think I paid $320 for this. And it is the second most expensive watch. All my other watches are like $50 because those Soviet CCP watches, most of them are Franken watches or they're NAS, or you can't be sure. So you don't want to pay real money. But this one, I knew the provenance of it. And I was like, I really want this thing because it's a fucking buster huge bitch. And it's got a massive fucking crystal. It's so slick. I love this thing. The other one I have that I didn't wear on this is a Seiko Bullhead, which is a monster. Got mine for $10 in St. Petersburg. What, this? I'm sure you did. I'm sure this wouldn't even be $5 over there. How the fuck am I going to get it out of there to America? These are usually fucked too, because they weren't like fancy, so people didn't take care of them. But this thing is like unworn, fucking beautiful. Oh, the Rocketa for $10. Yeah, sure. You can get Rocketas for nothing, man. Especially like the Big Zero, the fucking the Antarctic series with the different face colors. Like that's like, they literally are like hanging off stalls in the middle of market squares. They're nothing, but they're beautiful. Again, what was my relationship with the Smiths? How soon is now? 120 minutes. 1988. That's where I heard the Smiths. And the first Smiths record I got was the cassette of The World Won't Listen, which my friend's cousin brought over and gave to me. Which also has a different version of what on it? Stretch Out and Wait. The version of Stretch Out and Wait on Louder Than Bombs is different than the version on The World Won't Listen. Controversial. A lot of people have different. No, I'm not. I poured way too much of this. I'm totally screwed. This is fucking brutal. I don't drink stuff like this anymore. Chuggo is the man. Do I like black metal? No, I hate black metal. I think it's fucking ridiculous. I think it's the dumbest shit ever. I think the whole idea of all of the fucking pose and bullshit of that entire genre is just so fucking laughable. And I constantly gave Brandon Stossel shit for it. I think it's such a fucking joke. And I think wasting your time annotating it is just a complete embarrassment of the potential of being alive. Yeah. So, anyone's going to talk about management? Yeah, it was weird. Management blew up fucking huge. World Won't Listen version is 100% better. So fight. Let's go. Man, we're getting up on 50 people in the stream. I don't want to fucking leave you hanging, but I definitely can't go any later than 8 because that's just not fair. Again, we got 4 kids and they're not in school because of COVID. And fortunately today they have been really agreeable. So I'm not like leaving my wife with a brutal, and I did a lot of housework and stuff today to make up for it. But Liturgy, I don't consider, yes, Liturgy is a black metal band, I guess, but I consider them like just kind of apocalypse core. Like, again, it's like Discordance Axis and Liturgy and Menace the Bastard and all these bands we talk about. It's the bands that are just like, Holocaust, nuclear Holocaust, you know what I mean? Like wasteland bands where it's not, getting near Satan or religion or whatever. Like, I mean, I guess I would say this. I'm way more of like a thrash guy, like Power Trip fucking rules, Love Nails. Like, I'm way more into like the sort of theatrical dark thrash. Like actual glistening cathedral black metal is just so nothing for me. Teenage Fan Club? Yeah, man. Fuck. So I'm a Bandwagon S kid, right? That band's frozen in time with me. Bandwagon S was one of my favorite fucking records as a little kid. you know, right around Nirvana time. It's all the same. Like there's that crazy issue of the NME where the year end, the top 5 records, it's like My Bloody Valentine, Loveless, Primal Scream, Screamadelica, Teenage Fan Club, Nirvana, Nevermind. This is 1 year. It's like that's when I was 16. People are still talking about all the shit that was in the fucking mall when I was 16. No effort. You get albums that would be talked about for the rest of fucking time. 87 and 92, man, that's the gap. Those 5 years that I was like fortunate enough to grow up through, the amount of historic shit that got put out at that time. It's like 83, right? 83 was fucking monster. Crazy fucking year. Synchronicity, Thriller was still burning. You know, Cyndi Lauper. 83 is fucking nuts. And any music critic that's gone through and analyzed, and that's what I'm going to do eventually here, is pull out my Billboard books and just go years and just riff. But any music critic that really knows their shit, well, you don't even have to really know your shit to know fucking 80s charts. But when you start analyzing what happened in the history of music, you will pretty quickly arrive at an understanding that 83 is one of those years. 65 is one of those years, 1965. You know, and anyway, Prince, yeah, Prince, obviously you're getting right into Purple Rain. I think that Purple Rain really felt, I don't know the release date, but it felt bigger in 84. Like 84 was Purple Rain's year. 83 was more like, you know, still Culture Club and the Police and those things. What is the best year for hip hop? 94, 2011. Come on. I mean, I'm a fan of hip hop. I've listened to tons of hip hop. I don't, you know, my thing with hip hop is just like, you know, I made the joke, like, we really need more white people telling people about hip hop. Like, I think the most interesting thing for someone like me is just to talk about my experience of hip hop, because I'm not a hip hop fan. I love it, right? But like, I didn't pursue it. I haven't educated myself broadly about it. But like the big stuff in hip hop that's like really world beating and groundbreaking, like Takes a Nation of Millions, like, you know, even 3 Feet High and Rising, those records, like everyone wants, it's hard to explain. Rap is so attractive to so many people for so many different reasons. And white suburban teenagers, when I was growing up, were really fucking into rap. Now, is there cultural appropriation? Is there the cultural identity and ghettoization of African-American culture and affinity for that? You know, African-Americans are the last true rebels. There's all these aspects and reasons why people go in. You know, it's like when we were talking about Congolese music and high life and shit. Like, why did people decide to become heads on that? I don't know. Is it just the music, right? The thing about hip hop to me personally is that it's a really refined, simplified platform for absolute personality to come through. So like, you know, Ice Cube, right? Death Certificate. You have the capacity to feel almost more of a rapper, a great rapper, in a way, like Nas too, you know. It's really hard to describe, certainly without sounding like a total fucking jackass who should, you know, you should make fun of. But, you know, for me, the first thing I heard was Dougie Fresh's The Show at camp in upstate, not in upstate, in the Catskills at Frost Valley YMCA. So Frost Valley YMCA, there would be a lot of rich white kids who would get sent there. And then there would be a lot of kids from the Bronx and Harlem and shit who would, you know, go there. And there was a kid named Chauncey, and then this other kid, what the hell was the other kid's name? Elliot Seth Panman. I can't believe I remember that. His initials were ESP, and he was, and Ricky Schroeder's cousin was there, this girl, and I had a huge crush on her. This is like, I think this is 5th grade. No. Yeah, it's 5th grade. And so, yeah, because 1, 2, 3, no. 4th. I don't remember. Anyway, Dougie Fresh's The Show. They had it. We were going to do Dougie Fresh's The Show for the talent show. And they had some other Def Jam shit. Early, whatever the fuck. I don't even know. When I talk Def Jam was like, they didn't get that together until way later than that. What the fuck was the label? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It was The Show, and they had like, I can't remember what the other stuff they had was. They had the message. I mean, the message was huge. The message is like from disco. It's not even the same. The show was a big cutting point. The breaks in the show are big breaking points for like true hip hop rapping versus Sugar Hill Gang kind of disco, talking fast, smooth stuff. Anyway, for me, like my own personal interest in it, the first thing I heard was Schoolie D, and I was like, this is fucking sick. Like PSK and I Hate Rock. I mean, I Hate Rock and Roll is what all the suburban kids would have heard because that's like a novelty song, right? Message is like 78. Yeah, it's super fucking old. I mean, it's disco era, but it's just, you know, the image was so new and like kind of shocking that they got through in the film for the message. Certainly that was like fucked up for, you know, mainstreamy people. But puts hat on backward. Yeah. Oh my God, I can't believe I did that. In my hair, I actually took a shower because I was so fucking gross because, you know, obviously COVID. So my hair's all fluffy and it doesn't look as good. So I'm not showcasing the dong. Marky Smith kept peaking until he reached heaven. I don't know that I would say that. I would say that the majority of the Falls output, apart from Touch Sensitive and a couple of others, you know, there was what was the album? Levitate or Fiend of the Violin. There's a period, The Unutterable, and there's like 3 albums right in this period in the mid-late 90s that are really, really indefensibly strong. Like, I don't know how they reconstituted themselves and made, I mean, like 3 really fucking seriously good records in a row. I mean, after Extricate and Code Selfish, like they really had just died completely. And he came back with this, like, it was almost like, in a way, it's like Friends Experiment and I'm Curious Orange and stuff, that late 80s stuff. It was like, you're too old to be doing alt novelty wank. It's not like lining up right. It's lame. I mean, obviously Hit the North was a huge hit, and the cover of Victoria was massive, but I get haggard. I guess my connection is having problems. We could really be hitting issues now. But anyway, he didn't feel truly haggard enough to be like an elder statesman until that period with The Unutterable, and that, I think it's I'm forgetting, but there's another album right around there. And obviously he had a good band going. And did I find the reaction to his death underwhelming? Yes, because those same fucking politicking dickheads are the ones who were writing articles about it, who knew fucking nothing about him except to say that, oh, he was a very complicated individual who behaved problematically. And, you know, it's very difficult for me to co-sign his career because, you know, you've fucking ever done anything in your entire fucking life that anyone will remember. You haven't. You know, the guy's a fucking legend. Fuck his mistakes in life. Fuck the bullshit he did. Get up and scream it from the fucking heavens. This guy's one of the most important and original, innovative fucking thinkers in pop music ever. Was he consistent? No. The Fall wasn't about consistency. It was about presence. It's about maintaining and inflicting this presence and this voice on everyone who hears it, whether you want to hear it or not. The catalog is always going to be there. And, you know, they never, there's no like, it's just, it was all very natural and real. You know, you don't need a fucking music critic to tell you how complicated Marquis Smith was. Ask his fucking bandmates. They lived through it. Go interview one of them. Don't write your fucking bullshit about how, you know, he punched. What the fuck, man? It's so embarrassing. Anyway, I mean, he was a fucking raging alcoholic his whole fucking life. Various points, a speed freak. Like, what the fuck? Like, the guy's a completely fucking damaged person. This isn't the kind of way that, you know, English writers would talk about someone. They regard them as regards their public image. They don't get into armchair psychoanalysis and stuff, but like clearly Marky Smith was a truly fucked up person with massive psychological issues. He drank himself to death, smoked himself to death. That's really fucking hard to do. It's actually really hard to kill yourself with these substances. I don't admire it. I'm not saying he's like, you know, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't admire Marky Smith, but like I do admire Oliver Reed, and Robert Shaw is one of my fucking heroes. But I think Mark just didn't. He was so antisocial and misanthropic that it just that there's nothing there. He doesn't give a shit. He never gave a shit about anything. You know, I don't necessarily respect that, nor do I admire it. But the way you talk about it, I think it's very careful to recognize and declare your insignificance in the face of it. And none of these fucking dickheads that were, you know, by dint of just being the person writing for a publication at that time, they get to write Marky Smith's, you know, obituary. Fuck that. You know, I don't have any time for that fucking bullshit. All right, I'm gonna actually dump it, guys. So I hope it was fun. I didn't know if I was gonna get enough of a rise up to do a meet me in the bathroom hot takedown, but I am fucking truly well fried and exhausted, because of how I have the complete inverse result of COVID and isolation that all of you have, or some of you. Like, I'm not going to lose my job. My job is going to become 50 times harder and more frantic and crazy. And so, like, this is like almost like a nice release, because I'm so stressed out and oversubscribed in my real life with work. Take my hydrochloroquine. Fuck off. Yeah, I mean, it's not. You can't feel bad for me. I have a fucking job. You can't. I mean, you know, it's not. I'm not looking for pity or sympathy. It's just. It is. The pressure that's happening all throughout society is different for everybody, and it'll get you in different ways. But rich people ain't paying their bills. Yeah, they're not. All the stores are shut down. They're not paying rent. I mean, they're gonna figure it out. Whatever. They're just gonna puke a bunch of money into the economy and try and soft land it. Dolly Parton, 9 to 5, classic. All right, peace. We'll see you soon.